glad that you're listening to this podcast again. Or probably if this is your first time on M2M session, welcome. So today we are going to be talking about dealing with hurt. How to deal with hurt from your dad. Part 2. This is the part 2, and please, if you haven't listened to the part 1, I'll crave your indulgence that you should go to the podcast series and look out for the first edition of how to deal with your dad, how to deal with hurt from your dad. Because the part 1 is actually a basic and a foundation of what this part 2 is building upon. So, I mean, a lot of us, probably you right now, could probably be still harboring hurt for your dad, or maybe you did what we did what we spoke about the last time we were on this session, and then you're not really seeing immediate results, or you're not really seeing everything take shape and everything. I don't want you to be discouraged. I want you to know that the next phase of dealing with hurt with your dad is called the mental phase. Yes, the mental phase. Unforgiveness latches onto our mind and stays there. It builds houses, buys land, it buys real estate, bungalows on our mind. And it has stayed there for a very long time. I believe that the hurt that you've been trying to deal with your dad from was not a hurt that, it was just 3 days ago. When you plant a seed, and the seed stays in the soil and it grows and it becomes a tree, a very tall tree, the amount of energy and effort that it would exert to pull down the tree and also uproot it from the roots will be 20 times the amount of energy it would have taken to pull out the roots if it was just a plant. Of course, you know how difficult it is to even pull out a root from a plant, So that's what that hurt and that unforgiveness has built. So now what you need to do is you need to sit down with yourself and consciously and constantly erase and delete, clear your mind. Now, how do you clear your mind? It's one simple step, okay? One simple step. We've already gone past the aspect of saying you love your dad. The next aspect, the easiest way, I'm not saying this is the only way, but the one easiest way to clear your mind is to reflect on the good things that your dad has done. Pay attention to the good in him. Pay attention to the good in him. Now, I'm dedicating this particular podcast episode to my dad. So, let me show us a story and as to how this works. Okay. So, yesterday I went into the market to buy some items, and something happened in the market. What happened? After I finished purchasing the items, okay, the change that was given to me, was short of some amount. Now, in the Nigerian currency, it's actually 15 naira that was short. Okay, it was less 15 naira. It was supposed to be 100 naira, but it was less 15 naira. I wouldn't have had in fact, I didn't even have an issue with it. I was like, it's just 15 naira. It's just 15 naira, so let me just leave it for them and go. But a part of me kept on telling me, ask them for the change. It felt really silly. Come on, it's just 15 naira now. A part of me kept on telling me, ask them for the change. So when I asked, the lady replied and said, that I do not have any change at all. I was like, wow. Okay, so I bought items worth 3,500 naira. Sorry, items worth 3,400 naira. And the change that was supposed to be given to me was 100 naira, but the change that was given to me was 50 naira, and she's saying I do not have any change. Why? Because my items are worth 3,450. So I just made a statement. I said, your girl actually said it is 3,400. I was about to walk away, but the lady was like, you can calculate for yourself. I was like, no, don't worry, it's okay. That there's no issue. That's fine. In my mind, I was about to voice out the words telling them keep the change. But guess what? The young lady had picked up the calculator already. Okay, and I didn't want to make her feel bad and all. So I was like, okay, no problem. Let's calculate. Let's do the calculations and see. Okay. At that point, I didn't even care if it was 350 or even 340 or 350. I didn't care. So we did the calculations and all, and to my greatest surprise, after doing the calculation, what I bought was actually 3,100 naira. I was amazed. I was like, what? So these people have actually cheated me. Now, it looks like a slight mistake, but that's always something that my dad usually does. Whenever we go out to buy things, I notice him. When the lady brings the bill, he would want to calculate it. And I was like, now this bill is not complete. And he would always insist, let's calculate it. I never knew what it meant though, but until yesterday, I really understood everything, and it made so much sense. Trust me. It made so much sense. And I was appreciative of everything that I learned. So, you see, what I was saying, reflect. So when I stayed there, I was like, wow, these are things that my dad. So you see, I left that place feeling like, wow, everything that my dad has been doing, this man, even though he has not been actually saying, I'm doing it to teach you this, I'm doing it to teach you that, I could pick lessons. I was like, wow, okay, normal I would have left this, but you see, some things that I see my dad doing, they actually point out their lessons, trying to teach me something. I was very, very appreciative at that point, I felt so much love for my dad at that point. I was like, wow, this man does a lot. Now that's one story. So that's just one story. And that's just one of my story. Right now, I want you to begin to reflect. What are the other things that your dad has probably done for you? Look back at the past. Look back at how you were brought up. There are some things that he did. Probably it didn't look like, this is what it meant. But trust me, that is the best way that your dad knew and knows how to express love to you. He may not know how to express love the way that you want it, but trust me, what he's doing is actually for your good. And you need to start thinking on this thought. You need to start thinking and meditating, telling yourself that, wow, everything my dad has done for me is actually for my good. It's actually for my good. There were some things while growing up that my dad would usually point out. He would just make some salient comments. Yes, I would have preferred him to have said it in a calm tone. Okay, but the way he said it was the best way he knew how to say it. At this point, I'm not trying to find fault. At this point, I'm trying to see every single thing that he did as being good, whether I like the way he did it or not. That's what this mental phase is about. You need to think about everything that your dad has done for you, even the ones that you didn't seem like they were for your good. Think about those situations critically. Think about it objectively and come to realize that even if it didn't seem good to you, it was for your good. All the things that your dad probably might have done for you were food. All things. Even if you were abused, even if you were slapped, even if you were beaten, all things were for your good. Can you begin to see it that way? Begin to see it that way. For me, like I said, see, this mental phase is one of the hardest phase because it will take you to change your perspective. Perception is stronger than reality, guys. Perception is stronger than reality. The way you perceive a thing may not be real. Take for example, haven't you seen that sometimes the issue that you have relating with some of your friends or people around you is because you did something but they perceived it another way. Yes. Now what they perceive to them is stronger than what to you is real. And you may have to start explaining and doing this and all. Somebody may not budge. To one person, the cup of glass is half full. To the other person, that same cup of glass is half empty. It depends on how you see it. It depends on your perspective. I'll give us another example with another story. So, there was a point in my life where my dad stopped giving me allowances. I said stop giving me allowances, as if he has even been giving me allowances that much. So he cut my allowance, He cut my allowance and made everything just transportation allowance, no feeding allowance and all. For me, I was like, Daddy, what is this? I didn't say it to him, but I felt bad. I mean, every other kid in the block, they were getting allowance, monthly allowance, but I never got that. Why was my own case different? If I am looking at what my dad did, I would miss the picture and I would keep on hurting and feeling bad. But if I look at the lesson that he was indirectly trying to teach me, that single act that he did made me become financially independent early enough. I was already having a mindset of business. Early enough. My first year in university, I was already having a mindset of business. I was already thinking of how to make money for myself. Why? Because my dad refused to give me allowance. So you see, thinking about that, I can only stay like before. I used to only stay on the part of my dad didn't used to give me a transport allowance. But now that I've dealt with the hurt, and even while I was dealing with the hurt, I had to sit down and think about what this man was actually doing for me was actually for my good. So that's what I want you to do. That is what can help you in this mental phase to deal with every hurt that your dad, every word that you have towards your dad. Start seeing things from his perspective and start seeing things from the point of lessons. What lessons could you pick out of this? What exactly was your dad trying to do out of this situation? What did he mean when he did this? Just as men now, we are learning, some of us, we are yearning, and there's a demand on us to be emotionally available. See, our fathers do not know how to be emotionally available. They don't. We can't fault them. They were not taught. That was how their dad and their father raised them up. But you see, in all sincerity, they did us good. So while we are also growing and learning and yearning to also become emotionally available to our future kids, let us remember that what our dad, what our fathers did for us while growing up was for our good. That's the entire perspective we should have. See good about every situation. Pick out a lesson from everything he was trying to do to you and for you. I hope this has really been helpful. And I hope that you actually apply it. I look forward to hearing good things about you and your relationship with your dad. Feel free to drop a comment or write to me on my email, anainyang01@gmail.com, ANAINYANG, number 0and1@gmail.com. I wish you all the best in life. Cheers.